My name is Punya Arora, and I'm actually a photographer, and I'm a visiting faculty at Light and Life Academy in Ooty. I teach photography, and I've been actually teaching for 6 years, and I've been their youngest faculty, so self-high five, yes. And I'm also a stand-up comedian. Before that, I studied my Bachelor of Business Management and in Bangalore, and I was actually supposed to do my MBA after that, but I decided to take 1 year off. And for me, a year off doesn't mean that I would do nothing. So in that year off, I looked for another course, and I found this PG Diploma in Professional Photography at Light and Life Academy, which is where I teach now. And so I decided to do the course. And surprisingly enough, there's this quote by this photographer who says, "I didn't choose photography, photography chose me." And that's kind of exactly what happened to me. I didn't choose photography at all. It just chose me. I started doing the course, and I struggled through 6 months of it. And the second 6 months, obviously, my Punjabi competitive nature kicked in, and I decided that I'm going to make money out of it. And I said, okay, if you're making money right now, I don't want to study anymore further. And so I started doing photography. I interned with a photographer in Bombay. His name is Red Berman, fashion photographer, and I loved all of it. And I still do photography. I shoot mainly people, fashion, spaces, food, and my unique USP is people underwater. So this is what I enjoy doing. This is the kind of photography that I do. And I've been doing that for a while. I've been doing it for about 8 years now. And also teaching happened 6 years to the line. Comedy has been fairly recent. And this happened about, I think, 2.5 years back when I started doing comedy professionally. Again, the same thing happened. I didn't choose stand-up comedy either. Stand-up comedy chose me. That was because I was born Punjabi. And to prove to people that I'm a girl, I actually had to shave for the occasion. I am talking about my beard, more proud of it than some men here on most days. And so I realized that, dude, oh my God, comedy has chosen me as well. And so I started doing that as well. And that's just been my journey for work. How many of you love your moms? Make some noise. We have to, right? Like, we have no choice. Moms are like, I have given birth to you, now you will love me. My husband has disowned me, you will love me, you have to. And I 100% have no choice, and that is because my mom is actually a single parent. And normally when I tell people this, the reaction I get is the same reaction you get when you tell people you don't watch Game of Thrones. I'm like, my mom is a single parent. And I'm like, no, I watch Game of Thrones, calm down. I know everything. And the other reaction I get is when people feel sad for me. They feel bad for me. They're like, oh my God, so sad. Oh my God, how do you live? How upsetting, so sad. And what I say to these people, I'm like, look, don't feel sad for me. Because unlike most people, I only disappoint one parent. And how that came to be is that when I was born, the guy that I was born to wanted a son. He saw me and he got very excited. He said, oh my God, doctor, what a beautiful boy. Oh, look what I have created. Then he asked the doctor a very interesting question. He said, doctor, when does his grow? And that is the first time that he realized that I'm a girl. I'm a daughter. And he had no idea what to do with me. And my mom said, look, if you're already so upset about it, I'm going to have to get a divorce because this is a baby girl. Women get worse as they age, so please. So my mom decided to get a divorce, and because of this, I've never seen him, never met him, no idea what he looks like. And what I love about it is it brings to my life an element of surprise. I never go up to people like, do you know my dad? Never. And so I've grown up with my mom, just my mom, and she's been a very, very supportive parent. And I think she had to, because she had to play the role of two parents. And she'd been so supportive that sometimes on Father's Day, she's like, hey, I won't shave and you can give me a card. It's damn sweet of her. And the other thing that happened is she encouraged me to do everything that I wanted, you know. Like, to her, I was the best no matter what. But that's the kind of mom she is. She encouraged me to do everything possible. And I was also a child who had too much energy. I was a ball of energy. So, do you know those crazy balls, those tiny ones? If you throw it into an empty room, it does not stop. That is me. I had too much energy, and it had to be put in somewhere. It had to be utilized effectively, because energy can go both ways. You can either do something really productive with it, or you can sit and watch Netflix all day, which is not wrong either. But so I was put in the more productive direction. So my mom put me into a lot of classes, and I was also very happy too. So I learned how to play the piano. And so when I was a kid, I learned how to play the piano, chocolate making, candle making, drawing, sketching, painting. These are few that I can remember. And I don't even do most of those things now, also because I don't get the time to. But some I enjoyed, some I didn't, whatever. I don't even do some of those things now, but this is how I grew up. I grew up doing many things. And what that did is, it made me curious, and it made me want to try anything and everything. It made me want to try whatever I felt like, no matter what people thought about it or no matter what people said about it, which is why I started trying and doing everything I wanted. Even business management was actually my decision. I wanted to do it. No, but that's why. So all of this had been my decision. I wanted to do these things. And I realized that, as I've been doing stand-up comedy, I get a lot of questions. And of course, I was going to talk to you about the important elements of stand-up comedy today. But a lot of times, the question that I get about any of these is, how do I start? Where do I start? I honestly don't know what to say, because I never thought about starting anything before I started it. I would just go and do it. So I always wondered, what is this question? And that's when I realized, oh, people have a lot to think maybe before they get on and do something about something. And the only thing that I would tell people is that, hey, just, like with comedy, I would say, hey, find an open mic and just get on stage, or pick up a camera and start taking pictures. I didn't realize this was easier said than done. And I, maybe because of my background or whatever it is, grew up just like that. And the other thing that happened to me, and now these are a couple of things that happened to me as I started stand-up comedy. I learned a lot more things. And these are things I still implement in my day-to-day life. And I'm going to share a couple of them with you, like what it takes to be a stand-up comedian in a way. Now, the first thing I'll tell you is that anything and everything can be funny if you choose to laugh about it. Okay? Like, I made you laugh talking about having a single parent. And that normally for people is not an easy thing to do. Sometimes for people, it's also a story that they come with a lot of baggage and a lot of sadness. But as a comedian, I realized that it forces you to find the funny in everything that you're doing. So in a way, even though comedians are considered really strange people, that they'll go through a breakup and the next day they'll be on stage talking about the breakup, it's actually really therapeutic in a way. And so even if I'm not doing it for comedy, even if I'm not making jokes about a certain thing, I try and pick up a situation and try and find the funny in it. The other thing that I also realized is that there is comedy in honesty. The truth is way funnier than anything that you can make up on stage. For example, I fell down yesterday. Is way more funny than I was walking down the stairs yesterday and nothing happened. Nothing happened is not funny. Something has to happen. So if you fell down, that's way more funny, but people don't want to come on stage with the truth a lot of times. People don't even want to tell their friends the truth a lot of times because it's embarrassing. I would say go for the embarrassing. Those are the places that I go to. I don't even joke about the shaving a share razors with a boyfriend sometimes. Who cares? There is funny in the truth. Honesty is way more funny. So if you just try being honest, even with people around you, that makes your life so much better. Okay? The other thing that I want to tell you is about energy. Like I said, I'm that crazy ball. So what happens as a comedian, I've noticed, actually, I'm just going to stop saying as a comedian, because as a person who's even interacting with other people, I've noticed this, that the energy you put forward to people is the energy that mirrors back to you. So if I came on stage like, hi guys, you'd be like, oh, wow. But if I got on stage like, hi guys, you'd be like, oh, cool, this is going to be fun. So the energy you put forward to people is the energy that gets mirrored back to you. Now this, we forget, happens with us as well. So every morning, I noticed I was doing this a lot, and I have a very strong feeling that a lot of people do this. We get up in the morning and we brush our teeth mostly. That's the first thing that we do. And while doing that, we look in the mirror. Yeah. And when you look in the mirror, The normal thing to do is to pick out flaws in yourself. Like I would do this. I'd be like, oh my God, I have so much acne on my skin. Oh my God, my eyebrows are not done. And this is the first thought in the morning. If your first thought is a negative thought, how are you going to have a positive day? How are you going to have an upbeat day? And I realized this mirroring thing doesn't just work with audience and people around you. It works with yourself as well. The energy you put out to yourself is the energy that gets mirrored back to you. So I start my day very positively. I look in the mirror and I say, oh my God, you are the most awesome person I've ever seen on this planet. Don't look at Shah Rukh Khan's picture after that, it's fine, forget about it. But look in the mirror and I praise myself. And I love myself. And it took me a while to get to this point. I wasn't always like this, but it took me a while to get to this point, and oh my God, it feels amazing. And so that's the energy that I go with to my audience as well, and that's the energy I get back from them. Even if I've had a tough day or a bad day, the audience doesn't know that. This is where the hard work in comedy comes in. Now, this is where people say, oh, but you're just a comedian, yeah. You get on stage and tell jokes. You don't have to do anything. You have to do a lot. You could have had a horrible day, and nobody else knows that. So when you get on stage, they've still paid to come watch a show. They've still paid to come watch a comedian. They don't care about your bad day. They don't even know. In fact, they might have had bad days as well. If you have to drive in traffic and try to find parking and pay to watch someone talk, oh my God, your day is worse. I'm at least getting paid for it, right? So no one cares about anyone's bad day. It just goes on like that, right? So you have to get on stage and do your job. That's when comedy is also a job. It's also hard work. Now, the other thing about writing jokes, like I said, of course, funny comes from everything. It comes from life, it comes from experience, it comes from honesty. And honestly, anybody and everybody can write a joke. The other thing that I do is I look around and I observe a lot. I try to find the humor in everything. I travel a lot, I travel alone a lot, and then I get bored the moment I travel alone. And so I like making friends with people. And I look around and I see who are the interesting people that I can make friends with. And most people are couples and they're stuck to each other like this. So you can't talk to them. But there are some couples who like to take pictures. And they are not stuck to each other because the guy is standing there and the girl is standing here. She's like, baby, please, yeah. And he's like, ugh, fine. Those are the couples I make friends with. And now this is something I talk about even otherwise because this is just something that actually happened. I saw this guy, he was wearing a t-shirt that had a Nike tick sign on it. And under that it said, just do it. And I was like, oh my God, he's gonna be my best friend. It was midnight, he had his shades on, things got better. His girlfriend was typical Punjabi, like one of my aunts wanted everybody to get married. Typical, proper, came up to me, she said, hi. Actually, my name is Sweetie. You know, we have come here today to celebrate Valentine's Day together. I tell you how to find her, you just add them on Facebook. Whenever they send you message, no, hi, friendship, forget bad spelling, look for bad spelling. Those are the boys. Now just go around adding people on Facebook. And imitating her in front of people. But that's the other thing I realized. This is something that I do all the time. I'll come across people and I start talking like them and I start acting like them and I start imitating them. I didn't even ever think this is an offensive thing to do. Because in my head, any time that I did something like that or anything else, my mom has taught me this. She says, so what? She says, always remember, so what? Like if you get on stage, like if I'd be like, oh my God, but if I get on stage and my joke doesn't work, so what? If I drive my car, hit some, okay, wait, calm down. Don't get that carried away. But so what became a really important thing to me in life. And because of so what, I started doing anything and everything that I felt like. And when I started doing photography, people were like, oh, but there are no female photographers. And I was like, so what? Started doing underwater photography, people are like, there are no underwater female photographers. Like, so what? Started doing comedy, people are like, there are very few female comedians. How does it feel, you know? And I'm like, so what? Everything in life became so what, and so what has made my life so much easier. That's all I do. Anytime I want to do something, if I feel there's hesitation or I'm stopping myself in any way, I just say to myself, So next time you feel like doing something, just go for it. And don't think of other people, what other people are saying. But on this thing of so what, I would also say that don't try to impress anyone. And that's always going to be the case. No matter what you do, you can bring Mars to a TEDx stage. And people are still not going to be impressed with you. So there is no point. Don't try to impress everybody. Somebody is not impressed, so what? And the last thing I'll tell you is that don't let your spark die. Like, don't let your madness die. Everyone has some amount of madness in them. Some people are like, no, I'm really boring. That's your madness, okay? Being boring is fun too. People think 9 to 5 jobs are boring. I don't think so. I think they're the hardest things in the world. I can't sit in one place from 9 to 9 only. So I think it's like one of the most amazing things in the world. So find your madness. Find the spark that drives you and stick to it. I'll give you a really small example. You know when 5-year-olds, like kids, first realize that they can curse. And somebody around them gets really irritated by that. Do you know how many times they say the bad word? It doesn't even have to be bad word. Like kids realize they can say potty and they get so excited. It's the cutest thing in the world. And I'm like, dude, we were all like this as kids. When did that die? When did that stop? We should still get excited by these stupid things. And I used to conclude with this. I used to get excited by imitating my teachers in school. It used to give me a real kick. And it would be right after the teacher would walk out of the class. That's when I would instantly stand up and start imitating the teacher. I just thought it was the funnest thing to do. And this was my chemistry teacher, and she was Malayali. She was my favorite. And you know, the moment she'd walk out of class, I'd be like, hi, hello, how are you? And this is something that actually happened in class. I'd asked her a doubt during the chem lab, this thing, and she said, we will be making ammonia today. What you must do is, once you put the chemicals in the test tube, please make sure that you vomit gently. And I was like, vomit? No, you must vomit, child, vomit. Then I understood what she was saying. But she made it worse. She said, no, you must eat it. So this is something that actually happened to me in class. Funnily enough, this is one of the first jokes that I started with. And I was so flattered that it became a WhatsApp joke after that. People get really upset by these things. Oh, I was super flattered. I got it, I sent it to my mom. First thing I was like, Mom, a WhatsApp joke, this is awesome. And I celebrate everything, every little thing that people may or may not consider an achievement. I totally celebrate it. I celebrate getting out of bed in the morning because I love sleeping. So if I make it out on a day, I'm like, well done, Puns, wow. Wow, just amazing. I celebrate everything. And I also believe very strongly that if anything bad happens, we're always like, oh, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? And I very recently realized through comedy that a bad show teaches you way more than a good show. When you've had an audience of silence and you've put your heart and soul into it, you walk back like, oh my God. What have I done? Should I quit? But no, you get back up stronger. And it's so much fun, and I realized you learn so much more from a bad show than a good show. And that's when I realized that when bad things happen, they're not happening to you, they're happening for you. And I was so amazed when I realized this, that now anytime something bad happens, I'm like, awesome, why is this happening for me? I've become those overly positive people that I used to hate. But it works like a charm. But like if you put it out there, it really comes back to you. It's like the whole mirroring thing. I'll give you a very tiny example. When I first watched a TEDx talk, this was in school. Didn't know anything, didn't know what I was going to do in life. I was in school probably failing chemistry because I didn't understand what she was saying. I watched a TEDx talk and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this one day. I just said it. And here I am. I'm doing this one day. I mean, I didn't choose TEDx. TEDx chose me. But it was lovely being here, guys. Thank you very much.